All right, guys, what's going down, man? This is your boy, DJ Just J with Just Dimes ENT, your humble host of the Soto, you dig. Thank you guys for joining me. What I want to do is I want to bring you guys a really quick update on the Julius Jones story. So if you guys haven't followed that story, you can also look it up. Make sure you look it up on abc.com and look up The Last Stand, the Julius Jones story. I promise you guys it'll be well worth your time if you're not familiar, but we did do an interview recently about this story. So what I want to do is I want to give you guys a really quick update as to where we are now. So on September the 7th, on Friday, Oklahoma District Court Judge Bill Graves will preside over a hearing about the procedural question related to DNA testing in the case of Julius Jones, who is a death row prisoner who has always maintained his innocence for a murder in 1999. The hearing will take place at 9 a.m. in Judge Graves' courtroom number 800 in the Oklahoma County District Court, 320 Robert S. Kerr Avenue in downtown Oklahoma City. Now, the hearing in Jones versus Oklahoma will address the question of whether the district attorney's office will be able to communicate directly with the DNA testing facility, which is testing a red bandana that the state neglected to test 19 years ago. Now, the bandana is currently being tested for DNA at the expense and direction of Jones's attorneys. The state recently agreed to this procedure. This evidence should have been tested 19 years ago, said Dale Bates, federal public defender for Jones. There's always a concern that with the passage of time, the sample could be degraded or contaminated. Although this hearing is important, DNA testing is just one aspect of this case, which includes overwhelming evidence that not only Julius Jones was wrongfully convicted, but racial bias also contaminated the trial. Now, Jones's legal team has previously argued, number one, there is no physical or forensic evidence tying Jones to the crime. Number two, Jones has alibi witnesses that place him miles from the crime at the time it was committed, but his jury did not hear them. Number three, the only physical description of the shooter in the case matches Jones's co-defendant who admitted involvement in the crime, not Jones. Number four, according to sworn statements, the co-defendant, Christopher Jordan, a high school teammate of Jones, who served 15 years and is now free, admitted to setting Jones up. Number five, there is newly discovered evidence that shows at least one juror harbored racial prejudice that influenced his vote to convict Jones. Now, Jones, an African-American Oklahoma City resident, was on scholarship at the University of Oklahoma at the time of his arrest. While attending John Marshall High School, Jones, co-captain of his football team, basketball team, and track teams, was a member of the National Honor Society and graduated with a class rank of 12 out of 143 with a 3.8 grade point average. Now, bolstering Jones's defense case, in May of 2017, the Oklahoma Death Penalty Commission concluded that there were various serious and systematic flaws in Oklahoma's capital sentencing system. Included at the end of the commission's report is a separate study entitled Race and Death Sentencing for Oklahoma Homicides Committed Between 1990 and 2012, which examines the possibility that race of a defendant and or victim affects who ends up on death row. Okay? The report found that a black defendant like Jones, accused of killing a white male victim in Oklahoma, is nearly 3 times more likely to receive a death sentence than if the victim were a non-white male. Now, Jones's current lawyers state that there was pervasive and highly racialized pre-trial media coverage of the Julius Jones case, as well as racialized remarks made by prosecutors and at least one juror during Julius's capital murder trial. Now, racial bias occurred when a police officer used a racial slur during Jones's arrest, and new evidence shows a juror used the N-word before jury deliberations at the sentencing phase. Now, the state removed of all prospective black jurors except one during the jury selection process. According to Jones's legal team, the U.S. Supreme Court has made unequivocally clear that our criminal justice system cannot tolerate such blatant examples of racial prejudice on the part of even a single juror. In this way, Jones' rights under the state and federal constitutions have been violated, and his conviction and death sentence should be overturned. In 1999, Paul Howell was fatally shot in the driveway of his parents' home in Edmond during the theft of his SUV. Howell's sister, who was a passenger in the vehicle and witnessed the shooting, testified the shooter had approximately a ½ inch of hair sticking out from underneath a stocking cap. Okay? At the trial, Jones's underfunded and inexperienced public defenders with no capital trial experience failed to show the jury a photograph of Jones taken a few days before the shooting, which showed that Jones had short cropped hair and Jordan had long braided hair. Now, Jordan was released in 2014 after serving only 15 years, despite the fact that the prosecutors told jurors that he was facing 30 years to a lifetime of incarceration for his role in the crime. Two prisoners heard Jordan bragging that he had set up Julius and that he would get out in 15 years in exchange for his testimony. Now, in addition, jurors may not have known that Liddell King, another key witness against Jones, was never prosecuted in connection with the murder, despite his admitted involvement. Now, King's police interrogation from July to August of 1999, as well as his preliminary hearing and trial testimony, includes his admissions to being involved in the crime of the night that it occurred. He admitted to keeping the stolen Suburban at his apartment complex overnight and assisting in transporting and selling the vehicle the next day. Now, King also received less than the mandated sentence for habitual offenders in connection with unrelated charges. In November 2017, Jones's current legal team discovered new evidence that at least one juror harbored racial prejudice that influenced his vote to convict and sentence Mr. Jones to death. A juror reported telling the judge about another juror who had said that the trial was a waste of time, and they quote this: "They should just take this N-word out and shoot him behind the jail." The juror who made the comment was never removed, and the court did nothing. Now, on July 25th, the City Sentinel broke the news that Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals, OCCA, had withdrawn a June order denying requests to look at evidence of racial bias on the Oklahoma County jury that convicted death row inmate Julius Jones of murder in 1999. The court had decided to take a fresh look at some questions raised by Jones's attorneys earlier this year. The judges also concluded case number PCD-2017-1313 that they could not ignore mismanagement of exhibits earlier this year. The U.S. Supreme Court continues to review recent filings in the Jones case, with a 14th consideration of the matter pending at a high court when justices return in September. Now, under a, quote, unbroken string of Supreme Court precedents, Jones's attorneys believe he is entitled to a reversal of his conviction and death sentence, or at a minimum to an evidentiary hearing on this claim that the juror's racial prejudice violated his rights under the state and federal constitutions. If Oklahoma is to have the death penalty, the state must do everything in its power to come to convictions and death sentences fairly and accurately. and give full consideration to all possible claims of wrongful convictions, his current attorney, Dale Bates, said. Now, this summer, ABC television aired the summer documentary, the documentary series, The Last Defense, executive produced by Academy Award-winning actress Viola Davis, so shout out to her, which brought attention to the details of Jones's case, expressly uncovered new evidence. The docuseries can be seen online, which is at abc.com. For more information on Julius Jones' case, please visit justiceforjulius.com, JusticeForJulius.com. All right, this is your boy DJ Just Jay with Just Dimes ENT signing out. Thank you guys very much for joining the show, and we'll see you guys on the next show, and hopefully we'll give you guys an update on that actual court date. All right, peace.